I've always wanted to go and meet the guys who work at the factory that make the hosts.
Me too.
Right?
I was
For
never
mass.
so thinking about that.
Yeah.
They're
Made in monasteries, right?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen the bags,
sounds
the
cool,
big
though.
plastic bags.
I think nuns, like, I don't know, fact check me, Catholics out there, but I think they're made from monasteries and like cloistered nuns. Like what else?
Okay, so my family's from Colombia, right? In Colombia, they sell them on the streets to eat for fun.
Okay.
So when my siblings and I were younger, we'd play mass and buy host off the streets and eat them for fun.
Right.
And we would just stuff our faces with them.
And I would argue there's nothing wrong with that.
I
mean, it's
think
just,
they make them.
I wanted to know your
I
guys'
think they're
thoughts
just
on that
like
because I saw
Pre-consecration.
like one time it was like someone eating guacamole with it, and like everyone in the comments was like freaking out.
I feel like it depends. Like if you're a kid who's doing that,
Yeah.
like, and there's no animosity
You're,
or
like,
anything
playing
in there.
mass.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
But I think if somebody's being blatantly disrespectful and they got their hand on some hosts and they're eating guacamole with it, I feel like that's definitely crossing a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even like at the like neighborhood cathedral there, they would sell them in the gift shop. Like
Unconsecrated
hats.
hosts.
Yeah.
Weird.
I
That's
think
funny that there's a market.
I
for
think
that.
it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But
When I was a
don't know.
child, we had some friends that they had a son who one day, much older than me, I was a very tiny child at the time. He took me into his room and he had a jar of unconsecrated hosts, and he says, "Do you want one?" I was like, this should be wrong. And so I took one, I ate it, and I realized this is a piece of cardboard with a picture of a host printed on it.
And he didn't notice.
And I didn't notice. I was so taken aback by the thing that I've only seen in one place in a different place.
Right.
It
I
was
think
cardboard.
my favorite part of the story was you saying this should be wrong, so I took one.
It is interesting though. Like, and we just got a fact check from the great beyond over here, and and it said they are primarily made in monasteries.
That's cool.
Right? That's because on the one hand, it's like that's really really cool, but on the other hand, you're literally just making bread and you know it, right? I mean, there's nothing special at all about the host before it is consecrated.
Absolutely
at all.
not,
It's just a
yeah.
piece of bread. I was actually having a conversation with a group of middle schoolers the other day about like valid and invalid versus licit and illicit sacraments, right? And how priests can, like, you can have lots of sacraments that are valid but illicit, and it's morally sinful for the priest to do it. But when consecration was one of those, like priests can go around consecrating bread all they want to, right? Turn into the body of Christ. It's a sin. It's horrible. It's super immoral for them to do that, but they can do it, and it's valid, but it's illicit. I just thought it was interesting.
Do y'all remember your first communions when, like, before you did your first communion, they gave you like the practice host?
Yeah.
I just remember that. I remember the first time eating
Practice
it, and I was
host?
like,
We
I
used
did
to
not have
I think I
crackers.
ever got. I think it was just game time.
So,
No, we
Mine was just
used
like-
practice
we
hosts.
used
They were
practice hosts. They
unconsecrated
were
hosts.
unconsecrated. I remember eating it for the first time, and I was like, this is gross.
Yeah.
I was like,
was
I
not
wanted
impressed.
this for so long. I mean, obviously, it's Jesus, so I do
Right.
want it. But like, when I was in second grade, I was like, I don't really like the taste of this.
We have some dear friends who have a son, and he has a mental handicap, right? And he was getting ready for first communion, and they had been practicing with Cheez-Its, right? And he went up,
we did that.
and he went up to receive the first time, and it
no.
wasn't a Cheez-It, and he spit out the body of Christ, and the priest dove down and picked it up, and obviously Jesus totally understands the circumstances, but the kid was like, "That was not right. That was not it. That was not right." So
Parents should have seen that one coming. I mean, I saw that coming from a mile away.
yeah.
That reminds me, I taught a Sunday school class last year, and one of the girls, it was third grade. Yeah, third grade. And one of them was like, Jesus tastes like popcorn.
And you said, yes, it does maintain the accidents. In a really theological discussion. No. Okay. All right. That's cool.
I watched a little girl go to receive Jesus, and she dropped him, and then she picked him up, and they had like, they did the whole like purification of the ground, and she was just sobbing after mass, and she felt so bad, and like the priest or the deacon came up and was like talking to her, and she like, her whole day was ruined.
Yeah.
For the rest
There's
of the
something
day.
beautiful about that.
I know.
though.
It's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
So
That's that she understood that much, that deeply.
Have you guys realized like some priests, like when they're cleaning up after, I should be locked in like praying, but like I always look about like what they're doing.
Right.
Some like really scrub
Oh, yeah.
that thing,
Oh, yeah.
and some are like, a little bit more casual about it, but like, some are like they're doing
I've seen
everything.
the priests who don't unclench their
Yeah.
fingers after the consecration for
I like-
the whole time.
yeah.
Like you're given.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
They don't
want
do
to
it
cleanse
until
the
Jesus is back in the tabernacle.
Why?
Sure.
Why
And they
is
can
that?
wash their fingers.
particles.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want little
right,
pieces
right.
of Jesus to be falling on the ground.
I think that's great though.
It's
like,
so cool.
You know,
Well, the reverence is just really impressive. All right, guys. John Henry Span here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure you check out the full video. Also, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with anybody who you might think is interested. Thanks for being here.